This is just AMZN on Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. I've got the 5 minute of the stock up on here. We opened up gapping down. So yesterday was a bearish candle. We had a bearish retest gap. We retested with one single candle and then just continued on lower. We did get a little bit more of a retest. So we ran down here, came back and retested right into the 21 and then rolled over again. We had this nice kind of higher volume candle here and looked like we were stair stepping and did not continue lower. We actually retested again into the 21 and then we went much lower. And then speaking of, this higher volume candle here, it was higher than the last couple of hours. That wasn't the exhaustion volume. This one was. This candle was the exhaustion volume, and it clearly did not go lower than this today. It only went sideways though, so it didn't actually recover too much. Came into the 21 again, didn't really roll over, and we just barely poked above the 21 there. So just stay bearish all day was the way to go today. If we zoom back out and look at the options, I've got the 2900 put called up because there were some really nice ranges on this where you could have just been buying whole numbers into the 21. So right in here, it pulled back into almost 5. Come on, if the cursor would move again. I think it was 5 or 510 or something was the low through here, but you could have been getting that set up. So, okay, right here, the exact low was 5, and then this one was 510. So not sure that would have filled buying at 5. But if you were setting this up, it's like, okay, all it has to do is go a little bit sideways and get into the 21 again. So buying at 5, stop down at 4, and would have filled on this candle. So this candle was, this one almost touched the 21, and then this would have made you somewhat nervous that, oh no, it's actually going bullish, which it didn't do. Well, it did just barely a little bit. Put in a low here of 430 and then reversed and just continued on up. So buying at 5 with a limit buy after you saw it here with a stop down, a sell stop at 4, and then your target is going to be 3 Rs, so that's 8. That would have filled here, right around this area. So that would have hit 8, should have been out there, so that would have worked. And then it retested into the 21 here, and then again here with, kind of a nice move up after this little volume spike. But when it was coming into the 21 here, you could have been getting it set up to get in at 6. So doing the same kind of trade again, buying at 6 with a stop at 5, so $100 risk, and that would have filled over here as it touched the 21 again, and then it rolled over. And this, again, you could have gotten in at 6, stop at 5, 3R target on a Wednesday would be up to 9. That would have actually worked really well because it would have been out here, but you would have missed a lot of this. And so still that would have been, a 3R trade and another 3R trade, and you're good. Or if you saw, oh, we're just staying below the 5, we've got some momentum, maybe move that target up. And, what I would do is go from a 3R target up to an 8R target. So that would have been 6 plus 8 would have been 14. So my target would have been 14 and get my stop up to the $9 price, which probably would have been trailed out at 9 right here. Because with these candles holding above 9, I probably would have had my stop at 9 and would have just barely wicked into it here, recovered. That's the only thing with, kind of that move. It's like, it's really got to have that stronger momentum, continuing on. And this one, it didn't just drop like we had some things happen. Like this one continued to drop. Which day was it? Or we just continue to sink all day. I don't know which day it was. Quite a bit. I think one of these maybe. Or just sold off so sharply. Okay, which day am I on? No, it wasn't way back here. Okay, I don't recall which day it was, but were they? So here we are. Well, even this kind of thing. If this happened in one day, you're staying below the 5 exponential on the 5 minute all day. Even just kind of touching through it, pulling back into it. This is where it pulled back in that price pretty quickly. But I mean, it did it so quickly, you would have been wicked out and would have been out And, with that quick move, maybe got a little slippage. Um, Hopefully made the 3R, but sometimes it's better to just get out of the 3R and then look to see, could I get in at another pullback? Like if I'm out at 9, could I get back in at like 8? Will it pull back that far? And it actually didn't do that till right at the end of the day. And at this point, it's like, okay, there's so much selling. It'll probably have some sort of recovery. It'll probably just, bounce a little bit here. Like we had a little bullishness right at the end of the day yesterday. Well, no, it didn't happen. It poked up above the 21 and then came back down. The calls, I kept dropping the call strike that I was looking at. This one really didn't help. The only thing I did notice here is this bearish candle, this hammer, we did retest back to that level, retested here, and retested just barely with these. And this was kind of the place that it double topped here. So you could have been seeing some resistance at the same level on the 3100 call, and then getting into a put here. Earlier in the day, I've been looking at the 3150, I think, and this was just losing value all day long. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to get back up, close enough to that one. This didn't even recover enough. I mean, we had this price here retest back to the highs of this candle, but then this didn't quite make it as high. So even, this is still a retest, it's still trying to retest some earlier level, but it didn't get as high as the 3100 call did to recover that price. And so, you may have, like, that's what I was saying. If you had just set this up with the same price here on the put, getting in at 5x4, it would have worked. It would have pulled back a little bit more, made you a little bit nervous, whenever it's pulling back that much and it's like, oh, I'm just going to get stopped out. It's like, you got to remember, like, you went into the trade expecting to lose that R, and, not just dreading when you're going to lose the R. If that's the perspective, it's like, well, just don't trade, take something different or get into something that moves slower, which would not be options. So, anyway, yeah, so a little bit of help from like the 3100 call, just showing that we had some resistance coming in, and then just watching the put here. The 2900 worked pretty well, had some pretty decent volume, and also had some nice ranges. The 2950, this was a little bit lighter volume. Some of these candles seemed a little bit smaller. I think we had just these tick candles yesterday, but then had a very similar price range. So like where you could have been getting in like at a low here, like setting it up either 750 by 650, and then it pulled back, and let's see, the low was 7. So 7 by 6 may not have worked, but like 750, like getting into this price, or 725 by 625 for $100 risk, that would have worked here. And then you had the same sort of thing work over here, where I was saying, buying a put off the 21 here, it came into the $10 price, actually down to 950, and then came into the $10 price again here. So kind of the same level you could have been buying, with a limit buy of 10, stop down at 9, and your target up at 13. And that would have been, you could have done that twice here very quickly, along with the earlier trade here. And then this retested right into previous resistance. So it ran up to around like 1450 or so, 14 range, and then it came back and put in a low at 1435. So, right around that same price. This was getting much more expensive here. So that's why, looking out a little further at the 2900. So yesterday we had, similar like tick candles, but we had a little bit better volume today, probably just because of the price of the options. So, and we just kept moving lower. Like, we had the bullish move here on Monday, took out that low already yesterday, and then just continued lower. And now we're below where I thought we were going to make that decision, and we had reversed. Now we're below that. And so, looking a little further out on the daily, my next kind of support here is this line. Oops, trying to click on the red line. can't remember what this exact price is, and it's not letting me select it. So let me, no, it's not letting me click on this. Okay, it's like 29.30, 29.30, something like that. What was the low here, or the open? Like 29.35. So that, I don't know why it's not letting me click on this line. I mean, I can see it. It just won't even highlight it. So anyway, that's probably the next target, and that's not that far away. We'll be contending with some lows through here. You know, the next place lower is, you know, kind of the lower wicks on these and this. But this was a bullish gap and go that we actually did retest. You know, we really did retest that once, twice, three times, and we've stayed above it. I don't know that I would call this a retest of that because we stayed above this level, but that's why this line is here. So this was a really clean level. I guess below that, which I don't even want to talk about below that yet. But if we do have a lot more pain coming in and pull back further, like we have, you know, bullish gap and go here, we retested here. You know, this is the next kind of gap that I see between some candles. You know, we had a really nice move from this hammer. So if we get back into this hammer or this hammer level, that's like 26, 25, or maybe 2,700. This is kind of a retest. Well, I don't think that was a retest. I think it, well, let's go look. No, that gap down slightly. That's a typical gap. That wasn't, you know, a retest gap. This was a retest gap. This was a bullish gap and go. So, you know, we got to start going back and looking at some of these candles if we do continue lower and see. So let's see what happens at this level. Like I said, it's about 29.30 or 29.35 here. So 29.34.97 was the open on this day. So we'll see if that becomes our next target and we just continue lower. So see what happens. Hope this helps. This is just AMZN. Thanks.